Hello and welcome to another episode of the Goblin Ringleader podcast. And today we'll be talking about a bunch of random shit. Me and
Hey, it's Cole, Diabolical, and also Deck on Arena. Not that that matters. How's it going, Jack? How you doing?
pretty good, just chilling. Yeah, we're gonna be plowing through some standard stuff, some modern band stuff, and some spoilers. We're just gonna keep get it going.
Yeah, let's just kick it off. I think that we just were perusing random noteworthy topics and we came across Screaming Nemesis spiking in price, so we wanted to just kind of start on that and see that beautiful bow or a bow or a U shape. Uh,
Let's just talk about some like some quick observations real quick. So everybody looked at this card in the beginning and was like 3 mana 3/3 with haste is a good rate in standard usually. And then when you staple abilities onto it, especially like permanently turning off your opponent's ability to gain life and dealing direct damage when they bolt it, because a lot of the removal in this format is lightning strike, galvanic discharge, shock, because so many of the good decks are either playing cut down or damage based removal. This card just does so much. So people did spec originally that this would be very expensive, and it was right off the bat. But then, as people cracked them, they started selling them. Then the investors realized that people were cracking a lot of them and selling a lot of them because they were expensive. So they naturally had to ditch their supply or risk losing it all. So then the price dips down because the supply spikes way up. And as people realize that red is actually the best deck and need four in every in every deck, they start to spike because the supply goes down. And it's really cool to see how over time, right, people kind of knew what the price was going to be in the beginning.
mm.
And even through the market fluctuations at the end, it kind of leveled out and got back to the pre-sale prices, which usually that doesn't happen with these cards. Usually they are $20, $30 and then they hit five and they never go above that. So this was really cool to see.
Yeah, and I will just note that I agree with you that that is the way that a lot of these like standard staples have acted financially recently in recent standard sets, but I think that it's really exciting and a positive sign that this standard staple is demanding a high price. Like obviously, I it's a bummer because I would wish I had gotten in on it, but I think it's giving me Rekindling Phoenix vibes, where it's like that's a sign of a healthy format. People were actually buying the standard staples, and prices are not zero. I'm thinking of like us finally coming out of like a post-COVID environment, and who better to pull us out of that hole than Huey Jensen himself? You know, if him behind the scenes working on standard, he's head of standard play design or pro play, I think, or whatever that is. Um,
Which is amazing.
yeah, shout out to the people who have made standard the way that it is, and nothing other than hype. I mean, I like standard, but just this is an example of, like I said, a healthy standard format, and that excites me. Um, it is a shame that it's going up so much, though. It does remind me of Rekindling Phoenixes, and I did buy Rekindling Phoenixes for $35 a piece, and I was not happy about it. But that card did
But
work. It was unless they like Vrask could contempt your Rekindling Phoenix, you're cooked. And Screaming Nemesis is very similar. It's like unless they go for the throat or Leyline Binding or whatever, like it's gonna be a super nuisance. So yeah, just wanted to start on Screaming Nemesis. Any other final thoughts about the card, or should we move on?
man, the fact that red's the best deck in the format is a really good sign because we came out of a standard where Shieldred was the best deck, like straight up. And blue black is right now the top deck in standard if you look at the metagame. However, it red is everywhere, and the deck that people are talking about is the red deck. And when the red deck's at the top, it's really good because it's usually a skill thing where your opponent either doesn't have the deck building choices that line up well to position them against the aggro deck well, or they don't play well against the aggro deck. And so when the red deck's the best deck in the format, it's really easy to hate it out. It's really easy. I was playing the RCQ the other day, and I played against four Tranquil Throwbacks. 4 mana 3/3 that gains 4 life ETB turns out pretty good. He told me after the match, he said, I have a really bad mono red matchup. So I play 4 Tranquil Throwbacks in the main so that I can just throw them in front of things and gain life. And it won him the match.
Yeah.
So sometimes if the red deck's the best deck in the format, it's a good place to be. Whereas if like a black deck or a deck that is based in just like individually powerful threats is the best deck in the format, it's more difficult to deal with. Red, you can just usually hate out with like a single card, and it turns off the entire deck like a sweeper, or you play like something that gains you a bunch of life.
Mhm.
But this card does. This card answers two of the problems that the red deck usually have, which is it's a single threat that can win the game by itself, and it turns off your opponent's ability to just go right back up to 20 life.
Right. Yeah,
So
they can't like turn 4, slam a Beza, and gain 5 life when this card's in play. Right. That's not actually true. They would need to it would need to have its trigger happen, but
you would
I
have to galvanic discharge itself.
yeah, I 100% agree like where you're coming from for sure. I also think that it like I 100% agree that it is way more problematic when Golgari midrange is the best deck in standard or Dimir midrange is the best deck in standard, which these cards are pretty, decks are pretty dang good. Um, it does make it harder because, like you said, those cards are just kind of individual. Like all the cards are individually good, whereas your game plan against red can be pretty simple if you have the right tools. You have a couple cut downs, you got a couple go through the throats. Like you're going to be in good shape. So, yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that red being in standard is a good place to be. And then let's go ahead and move right along to a pretty exciting development in Arena, which is Pioneer Masters. They're bringing.
Woohoo!
They said a couple hundred cards. I'm 100. I'm not. I'm unsure on the language that they're using. Oh, yeah, hundreds of cards up here, to the Pioneer format on Arena. Right now, I'm not seeing a ton of cards spoiled. As you can see, White only has one card spoiled from what I can tell. I could do some more digging and see if there's any like visual spoilers that I can find. But this is what I can see. And I don't know. Jack, you got any thoughts on Pioneer Masters coming to Arena? Hopefully filling out the rest of the format in one way or the
So
other.
I feel like Arena is one of those places where you go to jam the games, but it's hard because you don't have all the pieces. So it's like you're playing a meta from before certain cards were played, or you're playing a meta where it's like standard, but it's not. The beauty of Pioneer is it's all of like the cards from RTR forward. So most of us players who started after Innistrad to remember all of the cards that we started playing the game with. The issue with Arena has been that we only have up to like Shadows over Innistrad, Aether Revolt, Amonkhet. That's when like they really started like putting sets onto Arena, and so everything after that, Ixalan and everything is there,
Mhm.
but you're missing the RTR, you're missing the Theros, you're missing the Dragons of Tarkir, the Fate Reforged, and then you get into the battle for Zendikar and the Shadows of Innistrad sets that are already on Arena, but the
Yeah,
foundations of Pioneer are in those first three three blocks. And
right.
so to be able to see, oh, and Magic Origins too. That's another, it's a core set.
Yeah,
That's the other
right.
thing is we also had a lot of core sets too. So
Yeah.
all these cards now come in and are super helpful.
And no, it's a great point. Like the Delve cards, and you've seen them add uh, Treasure Cruise and Dig Through Time separately. I actually don't know. I don't know if we have Dig Through Time yet. We might. I know we have Treasure Cruise already, but like Temporal Trespass, for example, JVP coming is like cool. I kind of think it's a little late because like we have Rona now. That's like its own like whole combo deck. But like Hidden Strings, for example, that's a card that we've been needing for a very long time. Also, this
Yeah,
card has Cipher, which is very funny.
yeah.
Love to see that.
I died to my opponent ciphering two hidden strings onto a layer of the Hydra for one that he made. And then he was able to, after he attacked me, cast two more hidden strings. And yeah, that one in the game. It
There you
was
go.
kind of crazy.
There it is.
Like, we get Gurmag Angler, which is we get Gurmag Angler and Tassiger, so maybe Death Shadow could be a thing.
Yeah,
Psych. Death
I'm
Shadow's not.
excited.
But
Yeah, I
like,
mean, Death Shadow's like it's constructed differently now, which is the problem.
yeah,
Um, but
I'm really
no,
excited.
I
I'm
do
really
like these
excited.
cards. I mean, Gurmag and Tassiger are good cards. But Dark Petition is a good card. Um, trying to think about like the other kinds of cards that we're looking for in standard. Really, the ones that like filled out the rest of the decks, we weren't missing a ton. We were
Yeah,
missing Glade Cover Scout. We got Glade Cover Scout here in Pioneer Masters. We were missing Hidden Strings. So it's like it looks like they're going to hit on the big ticket items, but it also looks like they're bringing in as many cards as possible, like from the
they got
Theranos format, for example, because obviously Brawl
yeah.
is important. It should be considered. I assume it's popular. I would have to assume that Brawl is popular. Um, but yeah,
The
I would.
chain veil. Shout out to brewers. Brewers everywhere will rejoice to see the chain veil in arena.
And also the combo that it has with Karn decks. So if you're just playing Karn the Great Creator, you can now have that infinite combo in your deck. Urborg makes a lot of sense to have. I was kind of surprised to see this one. I thought that we had Urborg already on uh, Arena, but that's interesting.
Yeah, and it
Um,
looks like they're gonna be putting a lot of battle for Zendikar cards, so we might see. I mean, we already have a. I thought we already had battle for Zendikar, but if we don't, then we might get Ulamog. Um,
yeah,
but
no.
Hornet Nests
Yeah, what does Hornet Nest do, Jack?
was a 3 mana 0/2 with Defender. And when it's dealt damage, you create that many 1/1 green insect creature tokens with flying and death touch. Now the idea with this card is you give it indestructible, and then you make it fight something, and that's pretty damn good because you can either put you can do it a couple janky different ways, but you like to do crazy things. Hornet Nest is a build around that'll be so much fun. Is it good?
Mm-mm.
I can't attest to that, but is it fun? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. They also like it makes flying death touch tokens. Like even if you have a couple punch spells, depending on the deck you're playing against, you probably will be able to get something out of it. But yeah, if you're playing against like blue white and you're playing like bushwhack hornet's nest, good luck, dude. That's not gonna go well for you. But it's such a cool card. I'm glad that it's in there.
Shout out to
Any
Perforos.
yeah, any like
Shout out to
thoughts on
Perforos.
these red cards?
Perforos is really cool. The Grinning Angus deck will rejoice. Also, Legion Loyalist. We we make our opponents quake and tremble in fear of the curve of Legion Loyalist, Pile Driver, Squee. That's 11 on turn 3.
There
For
it
that in the
is.
play, it's pretty bad.
It rhymes. Do we have Goblin Pile Driver in on Arena now?
Yeah,
Okay, that's cool. That's sweet. That's sweet.
that's what we'll be
Um,
doing.
yeah. So this was the card. You know, the just thing I'm gonna bring up here. Silence is obviously interesting for the combo decks.
Silence
Um,
is amazing. Just being able to tell your opponent no is crazy.
yeah. So keep an eye out for this. This is definitely gonna be important if you're an explorer player on Arena. Then just keep an eye out. It looks like it's coming out um, in pieces. It says Planeswalkers December 10th through 24, Spells December 24th, January 7th, and then Devotion Jan 7th through 21. So I have no idea what the fuck that. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna keep it
that
100
doesn't
with
seem
you.
very clear. Yeah, that doesn't
Uh,
seem very clear. I also have no clue.
oh, here we go. Look for Pioneer Masters sealed draft events with rotating bonus sheets of cards that'll spice up your matches. So that's what it is. So you play limited during the time period starting December 10th, and it will have different bonus sheets that you can draft, which is interesting.
Fascinating.
And like that also makes sense to me because it's like a 500 card set, so it makes sense to not have all the cards in rotation at once necessarily. But
Yeah.
okay, that's something. let's move right along to um
See, to just we just want to talk just generally about secret layers and the state of, magic. Cole,
yeah.
the did you hear about the secret layers selling out, the Marvel secret layers selling out almost instantly?
Yeah, I did. And I would just like to, I don't have a ton of thoughts on the secret layers. I think I bought like one or two of them. I bought the Bob Ross one, and I might have bought one other one that I can't super remember.
We bought the Phyrexia one,
Okay, yeah, the Phyrexia one. But yeah,
the Predators.
I just really don't understand the switch from print to demand to whatever sort of abomination this system is now. I can't imagine it being, well, one, I'm 100% sure that it's not a good experience based on the testimony of people who have actually been through it. And two, I can't imagine a worse experience for a new player to engage in,
Mm,
um, when they're looking for not like they're looking for a reason to buy this collectible, which will probably sit on their shelf. But it's just like, I don't know. It's given us a bad face when I remember having like an 8 week window or something like that, like a fairly large window to just like order the cards. Yeah, they got there, 6 months later, 7 months later. I understand people don't want to wait. Okay, like I get that 100%. I also think that there is a way to do it so that both parties win. Like maybe you have like
yeah.
uh an initial period where people can buy the cards, and they have like an initial print run, and then it's print to demand for like a certain amount of time afterwards. So I don't know, that's really my big qualm
I like
is,
that too because that was the biggest thing is people didn't like waiting and so they switched over. But now people don't have access to it after 20 seconds, right?
which is way
Um,
in my eyes, and probably a lot of reasonable people, like that's just ridiculous, a ridiculous
yeah.
alternative.
What did you think about? Did you hear about any of the hacks that were used?
I did hear about, yes, I did hear on the MTG Goldfish podcast that there was some tomfoolery going on, and potentially
So
some inside people hacking the system. Yeah.
we actually, our friend Dylan, who works at the card shop, told me he was able to use a trick that somebody told him. You just add a secret layer from a different drop into your cart, and then when the countdown ticks down, when it goes to 0, you're already in the checkout. So you just go back, add one of the Marvel secret layers, take the original secret layer that you had in your cart out, and then you check out. And you don't have to wait for the queue because the biggest thing was waiting in the line for the queue. So it would
Hmm.
tick down, it would start, and then everybody who was in line would queue in one at a time to buy it. But if you were already in line to check out, as soon as it started, you were already in the checkout and you could just click a box and add one of those secret layers. So Dylan was able to get his secret layers without a bot or without any like hacks. It was just a little like trick like
There you
that.
go. There you go.
So it's
And
cool, but that's the thing is like how many people like felt bad because after they got told no, right? How many thousands of people had to hear no, and
yeah,
then found out, oh wait, I could have just like done this,
right.
like
No, it's a huge feels bad, and like from what I heard as well from the MTG Goldfish podcast, the software or the website that Wizards used was not like the most great
sure.
website when it comes to, like, it's kind of a website that lends itself to being hacked. It kind of like prides itself on being like,
Mm,
hey, that you can exploit this for your own gain, if you're tech savvy enough. So I feel like it's kind of also like a lack of effort on Wizards end, where it's like you could definitely make that secure. You could make it so that they'd have to verify themselves, verify that you're a human, make sure that you're, and also, if you're gonna be doing it like this, which is so predatory, limit it to one person or one product per person. Like there
yeah.
are, I'm confident that there's IPs out there that do it that way, where it's like you get one secret layer. That's it. We got a
Choose one
limited
that you
supply.
like.
Yeah, exactly. Choose one.
Choose one
Oh,
you like.
everybody wants a storm secret layer. You know that's
Too
gonna sell
bad.
out first, and then everything else will be
Yeah.
like. And then maybe if we have surplus, you can buy another one. But it's like that's how you prevent the feels bad of the person who didn't get any chance, who waited in line for 2 hours, and then the person who posts on Facebook Marketplace for twice the price that they bought it for, and they're just showing like 20 secret layers on their fucking carpet, and it's just like I've seen those posts, and then I've seen the reactions to them as be like these people are scum, and it's like like okay, but also can you blame them for
Yeah.
wizards incompetence? You know, I
Yeah.
I hold wizards responsible for that. I don't hold the person who decided to game quote unquote to take advantage of the thing that wizards was offering. You know,
We were just being smart at that point, right? Like Wizards
they would
created a
make an
circum.
investment decision that made a lot of sense. Like
Yeah.
there's very little thinking had to go into that to make it a good financial decision. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Just want to talk about the drama. There's always drama. We got to talk about the drama.
gotta talk about the drama. Sometimes there's drama, and that's okay. Now the fun part. On August 26th, 2024,
This year.
which was this year, to put that in perspective, August 26th was here. One, that's like work. Second is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13 weeks ago,
We were
divided
playing
by
through grief and
4. So
Nadu.
that's like 3 months ago. We were in the throes of Nadu and grief, and they liberated us in modern and in legacy. That they made a lot of smart decisions on August 26th. Notably, however, they did leave the One Ring unbanned. And I'd like to just go ahead and read the excerpt of why they did leave the One Ring unbanned, and we can discuss that since the next modern ban announcement will be coming up on December 16th. Let's see if I can find that right here. December 16th.
Mm.
So right here, let's go down, and it says we certainly considered a few other cards to take action against in this announcement on October 26th, namely the One Ring. While present in several decks, there's no clear the One Ring deck terrorizing Modern. Being a unique combination of self protection and card advantage, it is a strong card that helps prop up several varied strategies. Ultimately, we decided not to act against the One Ring. The possible problems it may cause for Modern just aren't as clear as Nadu and Grief. Once we see how the format evolves after this change, we will continue to observe and evaluate the health of Modern and see which future actions are necessary. Any thoughts on that paragraph, Jack? After,
So I
you know, 13 weeks.
so I think initially this was a great scientific way of looking at the format. They're like, we've taken these two problematic pillars away. We're gonna see how the House of Cards falls, and then see how these people build these decks back up. Maybe the new metagame will shift so that a 4 mana artifact that really doesn't have that much of an impact immediately doesn't win the game. Maybe it's just completely irrelevant now that we've taken these other super fast cards away. Maybe it becomes the best card in the format. It seems that it's become one of the best cards in the format, if not the best card in the format. The amount of games where we watch our opponents just loop their One Rings against each other, and then it just comes down to who draws the static prison or who can escape their flage the fastest and have it stick around, protect. It basically becomes Delver, but you draw like a billion cards. Also, there's a lot of decks. I like the fact that it allows brews to exist. The fact that it props up some crazy stuff and spice, that's good. The issue is when you can put it in a deck that becomes hyper focused on just finding the One Ring and recasting the One Ring over and over again,
Yeah.
untapping the One Ring and tapping it again. Um, it it becomes a very homogenized game when both players are playing to the same end. Neither one is trying to win. Both of them are just trying to find their ring, and the ring is going to allow them to win almost easily.
Yeah.
And so I think now, watching, like, as you said earlier, like 8 out of the 10, 6 out of the top 8, like, after seeing these numbers where the One Ring is just everywhere, I think that it's time to look at it honestly as a card that probably has to get banned or maybe errated.
Mm.
Um, how about what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the the sentence that came out 13 weeks ago, which is while present in several decks, there's no clear the One Ring deck terrorizing modern. I think that that sentence does not hold up after these 13 weeks. For reference, we didn't talk about this in the podcast, but if you look at like of any modern challenge in the last couple of weeks, obviously, depending on what challenge you look at, but there are quite a few Boros energy decks hanging out in modern. And I'm just like, I think that's a good segue, away from this paragraph specifically, which I think the point of bringing it up is that I don't think that it's holding up as of right now in the current modern metagame state. Is what we think about potentially happening on December 16th. I personally think the One Ring should be banned. This paragraph does say that they've been looking at it, and if they take a look at this paragraph and they say, okay, they take a good look at themselves and they say, okay, how does this paragraph hold up now? If as long as we're on the same page, which we might not be, I think that they would come to the same conclusion that there is a clear the One Ring deck terrorizing modern, and it is Boros energy, and it is Jeskai control, and it is you know basically any mid range deck
Yeah, as you
like
say, you could put it in Tron, you
the
put it in
green Eldrazi
Eldrazi,
Tron deck.
you
Yeah,
put it in, yeah, you can put it in literally anything.
yeah,
There's Shieldred Ring decks. There's Mono Black Coffers decks. You can put it in Amulet Titan. People put it in Scape Shift. A lot of people have just been using it to prop up their random Twiddle decks. Like if you're playing Twiddle Storm,
yeah,
we had somebody who won an RCQ at the Boar's Hat store, Cole.
yeah.
He exclusively plays Lotus Field in Pioneer and Modern, and he won with Twiddle Storm in Modern.
I mean, I've seen Spike go crazy with that Twiddlestorm deck, so that does not surprise me at all. And yeah, that's a great
And
point.
that's not the
That the
deck.
whole point of that deck is to just tap and untap the ring a bunch. Like the
He
Lotus Field
drew
is
his
great,
entire deck.
Lotus
He
Field
drew
is
his entire deck.
awesome, but
Hidden strings. Hidden strings. I'm gonna untap this land and I'm gonna untap this artifact,
yeah,
and I'm just gonna
there it
do that.
is. Yeah, that deck's cool, and that's a great point because Twiddlestorm I think is cool, and I think that if the One Ring was just like
And that's not the reason to ban the deck
that's not
or the card. That's not the reason to ban the One Ring.
no, not
The reason.
Twiddlestorm, not Twiddlestorm,
No,
but the fact
but
that
it's a point.
no for sure, but the fact that like Boros Energy was a deck that was not playing any One Rings pretty much when this announcement came out, and it has evolved into a deck that is playing 4 copies of the One Ring, typically in the main, just to be like hyper aggressive, Guided Souls, Ocelot Pride, Amtraptor, just have like the most aggressive and also powerful, incredibly powerful start, followed up by a nearly unbeatable, insurmountable amount of value and card advantage that's offered by that format play. That's the whole reason why Jerry Thompson was like, let's put a fucking bounce land in my super aggressive Boros energy deck. And like personally, I'm like, ooh, and like there's a lot of people who are like, ooh, like that's gross. But the point is, you have two lands in your hand, you draw the bounce land, and you can play the One Ring with those 3 cards in hand. So it's like it that to me means is throwing red flags up in the air. It's like Boros Energy is playing bounce lands to enable like playing literal tap land, bounce land garbage.
Ramp
In my
them.
eyes, like we have so many better
Yeah.
options, surveillance, like you got
Oh, it doesn't even ramp them. It just gives them the extra land.
no, it
So
just
it
gives
just
you
gives
the
them
extra
extra
lands. So
land
it
draw.
just turns your 3 lands into 4 lands for to play the One Ring. That was Jerry's, and it's smart. It really is when you're dealing with a small resource game until you can play the One Ring. it's smart, but I think that it is ultimately a red flag. So I think the One Ring's gonna get banned. Do you feel that way, Jack?
Any, I agree. I think the One Ring is going to get banned or seriously nerfed. I think that what they could do is they could put it in the companion zone. If they make it a one of only, you can only play it in the companion zone. You gotta pay 3 mana for your One Ring, and you can cast only once, and
Please
then
God
it's
no.
just like a one-time thing.
Please
Okay,
God no.
so if that's worse, then just ban it.
That's
Just
so much worse than if you banned it. If you gave everybody, okay, hear me out. We're not gonna ban. We're gonna ban the one. We're gonna restrict the One Ring, but instead of restricting it to one copy in your main deck, you're gonna have it always, always in your companion slot. Uh,
Wizards is like,
it also has no deck building restriction. It's like companion dash,
zero.
and then it goes back to, and like starts reading the rest of the card. It's like what? Uh,
Hell yeah.
what about other cards being banned on December 16th? You've played a hell of a lot more modern than I have. Is anything sticking out at like a sore thumb in terms of power level?
Okay, so some of the most oppressive starts that you can play against are fueled by a Guide of Souls. The Amped Raptor hitting a One Ring and casting a One Ring. The Guide of Souls play, allowing your Ocelot Pride to instantly make tokens, which gains you a bajillion life, which makes the Ocelot Pride fly, which means that you can hit them in the air next turn. So
With
then you
lifelink.
can make another. With lifelinks, you can make another token because you gained life, and then you can gain more life and get more energy to make your Guide of Souls fly. Like there's stairs
Yeah,
that
Guide
Guide
of
of
Souls
Souls
is
by
so
itself,
fucking good.
yeah,
Yeah.
by itself it creates these games that otherwise you can't interact with it because it makes itself a 4 damage or a 4 toughness creature, so it takes 4 damage to kill it, which is insane for
Yeah.
1 mana 3/4 with flying. It can also be a soul sister and give you energy
And make your other creatures
single-handedly.
3/4s or
Makes it
better.
all your creatures, yeah, all your creatures get, and you can target the same creature with the energy over and over again, so you can make the Guide of Souls by itself big enough to just kill your opponent. So I think it's either Guide of Souls. You could say there's an argument for Amped Raptor because of how busted, 2 mana Bloodbraid Elf is. But I would say it's either Guide of Souls or a Johnny.
Mm,
The pseudo combo of Goblin Bombardment a Johnny, Flip my Johnny, deal a damage to a thing, zero, deal another damage to a thing, make a guy, throw the guy, deal a third damage at a thing. Like that's a very very strong sequence.
mm,
Johnny's probably more fair than Guide of Souls, but Guide of Souls is gonna be like it's gonna be a card that isn't as intuitive to ban unless you've played a lot of Modern or you've
right.
watched a lot of Modern.
Right.
Like the only reason I lead with Guide of Souls in this part is because of the fact that I'm thinking about how the deck has beaten me and the turns that I just can't, like the games where I don't have any agency are
Yeah.
when my opponent goes Guide of Souls on one
Right.
and I don't have an answer.
Because Guide of Souls on one allows the Amped Raptor to hit Fable and to hit Blood Moon. And like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really good point. I think that my knee jerk reaction is a Johnny because that card's just so egregiously powerful.
It's dumb.
And reads
It's
like
very
it
dumb.
reads like a mistake, to be completely honest with you. But I feel like you could say egregiously powerful fits the bill for a Johnny, Amped Raptor, Ocelot Pride, and Guide of Souls, which is insane. That all those
Yeah.
cards are MH3 cards, and they're all just like,
You can ban any of them.
yeah, and the knobs are turned way up on all those cards. But I think I have to agree with you, and I think that's a really good point that Guide of Souls has to go because it enables the most disgusting and degenerate stuff. And when your board is stalled out, when you go Guide of Souls on one, a Johnny on two, they have to kill the Ajani. You play another must kill threat, and the Guide of Souls is just kind of chilling there. It's gonna turn your 2/1 cat that you made into a 4/3 flyer. It's gonna turn itself into the 3/4 flyer. Like, and it's just like Soul Sisters. Like a Soul Sister's a weird card by itself right now in 2024. It's not playable. But if you stick an extra toughness on it and you add that energy piece, that would be good enough. And then it also just randomly like boots up your whole team and wins the game by itself. And it's a one drop like enabler. It's it's a one drop that's an enable and a payoff. And like you could
Period.
there you go. That's what it is. fucking it squares a circle. It makes it all happen.
It
Um,
squares the circle and makes a triangle and does it all.
yeah, for sure. So I think Guide of Souls One Ring would be probably the Gathering, the Magic Podcast stamp of approval. Um, we
Do
have
you
to
think
make
that there
like an
should be any?
acronym for that or something.
We'll make a sticker. I'll put it
Yeah,
on the thumbnail.
yeah.
Do you think that there's any unbans that could be reasonable?
Oh yeah, let's
You want to just take a quick scroll
meander
down
on
memory
over to the
lane?
band cards, eh? So taking a
Just
look
like
here.
start from the top. Ancient End, nah. Astrolabe, nah. Birthing Pod, no. Blazing Shoal, no. Bridge from Below, we remember that. Well, actually, Bridge from Below was banned because of Hogak. I think Bridge could come back and it
I
would
think
still
Bridge
be
can go
fine.
back. That's a good point for sure. Chromax,
Rocks,
no.
definitely not.
Get the fuck out of here. Cloud Post, no. Dark Depths.
Oh, hell
I
no.
I would like Dark Depths to come back
Oh, you
personally.
okay? Talk to me. Talk to me.
I think that personally, like the format is quick enough to deal with the Dark Depths. Like
Okay.
I'm thinking
I,
in my mind what the best case scenario to make a Dark Depths would be, and it's like you play Dark Depths on turn one, and you play Urborg on turn two. You Vampex Mage the Dark Depths, and you make a 2020 on turn two. That's scary, but also is it more scary than a turn two Blood Moon off an Ampdraptor? Is it more scary than dying on turn two to Storm
I
or
also want to say the token's a 2020, but it dies to Prismatic Ending,
Prismatic
Static Prison,
Ending?
March, Leyline Binding. Um, like
Lots of
you
cards.
can all the exile cards, Solitude.
Solitude. Yeah.
You can unsummon it with a Teferi. Like you can block
Yes.
it with anything that
You could
flies.
bounce it. You can exactly. Yeah. So I would like Dark Depths to come back. I think that would probably
We can see it.
cause a lot of pain and misery, but that's okay. Deathrite, no.
No,
Dig through time,
no.
no.
Dread
Dread
Return, fuck
return,
no.
no.
Iogun,
Iugen.
Eldrazi's so good right now. We cannot have it get any better.
Iugen should just like cease to exist. Is how I feel about Iugen. Like it should not even show up on here.
I
Faith
played against it in
suiting,
Legacy, and it's so dumb.
yeah,
Looting, no.
way too powerful. Field of the Dead. I
Mm.
personally think Field of the Dead is fine. It's another one of those cards where it's like
I think
if
Modern Power Creep.
Primeval Titan is gonna be legal, I think that Field of the Dead is fine. Like people are successfully casting Primeval Titan. If someone is successfully playing their seventh land in in a match of Modern these days, that is impressive. Give yourself
And
a
they should
2/2
get a
zombie.
2/2. They should
You
get
know
a
what, man?
fucking 2/2.
You deserve that 2/2 zombie. You go ahead and get that. I'm gonna kill
Take it.
you with this scum
Take it.
bombardment. You know, I'm sorry to hear that. Field of the Dead was banned at a time when Arkham's Astrolabe, Oko, Uro, Mystic Sanctuary were all once upon a time were
Once
all
upon a
legal
time.
in the same format together.
Deck. It was in the
In the same
same
deck.
deck.
Yes. The deck was disgusting. It was nasty. It was nasty.
None of
May
those
it
cards can come
never
back.
return.
None of those cards can come.
Field of the Dead is fine. It died for those sins. Fury,
That
how do
was
you feel
that
about
was
Fury?
that was Eldraine's standard, by the way.
What if on December
Yeah,
16th,
Fury's so dumb.
Wizards goes, we're banning the One Ring and we're unbanning Fury.
I think
Explanation
goblins
is
can take that L.
their explanation is Boros energy is just too rampant and we need to nerf the
Ooh.
creature deck. So we're
We need
gonna introduce Fury. And what I'm gonna hear if that happens is, oh, you're giving Boros energy Fury. Fun. Fun. Lovely.
now they play Ephemerate and then they play
Yeah.
Solitude. And now they're just like a late game mid range deck with Flage.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
I
yeah.
Fury should stay
Fury,
banned.
I think that they could be like, hey, we need a pyrokinesis, but in that case, they should just reprint pyrokinesis into standard or modern
Yeah,
4 or whatever.
for sure.
On
For sure.
Rises 4.
Agreed.
Definitely not Fury, although I will be willing to take the L. The goblins volunteers to die in flames if it means the cats die too.
Yeah, I just personally I like creature decks too much to see a safety valve as powerful as Fury be in the format. And as much as I
It
want
could
to see Boros die in flames, in furious flames, um, the better way to do that, I think, is just to ban Guide of Souls or one of the cards from the deck.
Fair. Totally fair.
Get Probe, get
No.
it out of here. Glimpse of Nature, that
Nah.
card's probably fine.
Elves. Oh, actually, that's true. I was gonna say elves are really good, but actually, elves needs help right now, so
Like,
glimpse would be fine.
how funny would it be if they went like turn one Elf, turn two Glimpse of Nature, and they just like someone flashed into Bowmasters in
Oh my
in response to like the
god.
first card draw trigger. It's just like
And they
good
kill their mana.
game,
Yeah.
dork. Yeah. So
So glimpse is fine.
I think Glimpse is fine to come back. Golgari Grave
Grave Troll
Troll.
can never come back. It's every time that people say it can come back, it comes back, and then Dredge becomes like the best deck, and then
Yeah,
people
and
say
it's
please
miserable,
ban
dude.
Grave Troll.
I am not interested in playing against Dredge, please. Thank you. Furnace is another artifact land. Greenstone Zenith, no
Yeah.
thanks.
No.
Grief, I'm
Grief.
so
We just were here.
so happy Grief is fucking gone, dude. Thank
Hogak,
goodness.
hell no. We've been
Hogak,
through this.
no. Hypergenesis.
Hypergenesis is a big one that everybody always talks about unbanning. Cole, do you feel like Hypergenesis would be playable? It's a 0 mana spell, can only
Yeah.
be cascaded into or suspended, and it allows you to basically show and tell back and forth until nobody has any permanence.
What is its casting cost for suspend? Because that's really like,
It's four. I think it's four. I think it's two colorless and two green.
oh, it's three, suspend three. So here's my
Okay.
problem. Here's my problem with Hypergenesis. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up Crashing Footfalls as like a side by side comparison. And this is why I think Hypergenesis would not see any play if it got unbanned. Crashing Footfalls is a card that you can play on turn one if you have no other plays, and you know that in 4 turns you're gonna have 8 power in play. So
With trample.
with Trample, so by itself, it lends itself to this game plan of, hey, I'm playing this kind of mid-rangey game. The cards in my deck can facilitate a mid-range game plan, a more controlling game plan, where I control the board and I kill you with these 4/4s. Hypergenesis says, hey, when you cast this card, you get to put all the shit that you have in your hand into play, which requires you to have shit in your hand to play. And that's my issue with Hypergenesis. You have to fill your deck with these cards that are unreasonable in comparison to a deck like Crashing Footfalls, where you can put Tashana's Tidebinder, Flame of Anor, Force of Negation, these way, way better cards in your deck in comparison to Hypergenesis. So personally, I think the deck would be good. Obviously, it would kill a lot of people. I don't think it's any more egregious than Goblin Char like Blue Belcher is doing right now. Blue Belcher is way more scary, way more disgusting in my opinion than what Hypergenesis has to offer. So yeah, go for it. Hypergenesis off, and hypergenesising off an Amp Raptor is scary. I'm not sure if you can. Can you do that?
Yeah. No, no, you cannot cast it. It does not have a casting cost. Go back to
Is
Crashing Footfalls.
is that how Amp Raptor works?
Mm, I I'm confused because no, no, it must be because Cascade is a replacement effect. It
Because otherwise,
replaces the
otherwise, why haven't people been doing this? You know,
yeah.
like what would that be? Cast it from your hand. On that card, cast that card by paying an amount of energy equal to its mana value rather than paying its mana cost. So the reason why it probably does not work is because you cannot pay any energy off of it, but you can cast a bobble by paying no energy off
That's
Amp
interesting.
Drafter. So
That's something to look into.
yeah, let me actually take a look. But anyways, I think I'm derailing the conversation. That's why I think
No, no, no.
Hypergenesis would not see
That's
play personally. Um,
that's a good point. I agree. I think that two guaranteed 4/4 tramplers are because sometimes you'll just have lands and your opponent's gonna have a 10/10 and they're gonna beat you to death with the card that you gave them for free.
yeah,
KCI KCI can never come back. I remember playing against that. I watched somebody play through two Stony Silences and a pithing needle on KCI and um well, spell bomb, the blue
mm,
spell or pyrite spell bomb.
yeah,
I saw those four hate pieces in play, and the KCI player still won.
yeah. Like respect to Mad Nass and all. I am not interested in watching someone try to combo through a KCI. And like watching Matt Nass in the finals of a Grand Prix, obviously his brain is fried, but like, I remember playing an F&M against one guy who was like trying to explain to me how the combo worked, and he couldn't because it's so
You
damn
couldn't because it's
convoluted, and
and it's
doesn't
indeterminate.
make sense. It also doesn't make sense, right? It's like I'm going to announce my cast, and then before I
In
do that,
response to the announcing of the
I'm gonna
cast.
take some actions here. I'm gonna be doing some action taking.
Yeah, it's like you choose target. It's like the craziest rules bending that you can possibly do because
Yeah,
KCI is a mana ability, which is so fucked up. We're not even gonna talk about
no, yeah,
it.
it's why the card should stay banned. Mental misstep, no thanks.
Dumb,
Mox Opal,
dumb.
okay. Microsynth Lattice,
We don't want Karn lock. That's
yeah,
they just gave us Ugin's labyrinth. We can accelerate into Karn now,
yeah.
which
But
is would be really
that's a
bad.
quality of life play. That's something that Legacy should have too. Just as like a hey, we're not gonna screw you over here. Mystic Sanctuary
I feel like right now, Sanctuary would be okay, right? Like,
without
what's
Uro.
what are
I think Sanctuary would be okay, and it gives me pause to say that
there's Flage, but the
the Flash
difference is
doesn't
you have
draw
to
you a
play
card. The
exactly.
play
Yeah,
pattern does not exist in the same way. Yeah.
you would probably play Sanctuary with Frog, but then what card would you be putting on
Ooh.
top? You'd be putting Counterspell on top.
Like yeah, like
Would you be
cryptic command,
putting
like the cryptic command was the card that you're putting on top in that situation. That card is not playable in this format anymore. Like maybe it gives it a reason to play it now, but I cannot imagine that people are like gonna be excited to be like, yeah, Mystic Sanctuary now lets me play my fucking. It would be like putting Drown in the Locks on top and
well,
frogging back into them,
and
which that does sound pretty damn good. So maybe it is like problematic enough and creates like a bad enough play pattern that it's worth kind of like Microsynth Ladder.
not
This is like a quality of life thing, just not having. Even though I love the card, like it makes me
it's so cool.
do the endorphin things for sure.
I
Nadu,
love losing against it. Yeah,
yeah, for
Naru,
sure.
no, no, no,
Nadu, Nodu, uh, Oko,
hell no,
yeah. Once upon a time,
no.
nope.
Titan and Tron are good enough.
It says ponders on here, but that's not correct.
Yeah, that must be not updated.
Yeah.
It's all good. Punishing
Punishing
fire.
fire.
I was thinking about this today. That could be an answer for Boros. They
What does
unban
punishing
punishing
fire
fire.
do?
So it's a red to deal 2 damage, and then whenever an opponent gains 1 life, you can pay a red to pick it up. So it's 2 mana, 2 damage, and you play it with a Grove of the Burn Willows. So every turn you can shoot something for 2.
This card's fine.
It's sorry, I didn't realize. I thought it was 1 red. It's 2 red. My bad.
This
So it's
card's
three
this
mana.
yeah, this card's fine.
It's 3 mana for
Hot
two
take here:
damage.
if you're tapping your Grove of the Burn Willows, if you're
Gain them a life.
yeah, this card's completely fine, dude. I do not understand why punishing fire is on. Like maybe it's just like a symptom of me not
For
knowing what the play
no, I
patterns
think
are
it's
like, but
this was a card in early modern that dominated because you could just deal it to your opponent. You would just sit there and you would slowly deal them net 1 damage, or whenever they played a spell, you just deal it damage. And so early modern before power creep, right? That was like the early bowmaster, and now there's actual bowmaster, and so that's
yeah,
very very bad.
like we have better things. Rite of Flame. Do you think Rite of Flame would be okay?
I think that we can't give Storm any more rituals right now. Storm's like the one of the best. I think Storm and Belcher are secretly the 2 best decks in the format.
You think Storm
Um,
is?
I think Storm is a deck where if you aren't ready with 2 different pieces of hate in your sideboard,
Hmm.
you're gonna lose the game one, and then when you go to your board, you're gonna bring in 1 piece of hate. They're gonna have a static prison, and then you're gonna lose.
Yeah, like
So,
the Drenith Magistrate plan. They just like have
mhm.
probably evolved from not being able to beat that, right? That makes sense. Okay. Seed of the Synods and Artifact Land, Second Sunrise. Um, no thank you.
No.
Seething Song, same
Seething Song
logic
is another.
as Rite of Flame, I assume.
Yeah, they're both really busted rituals.
Although Seething Song does technically do something different than Rite of Flame does, but their rituals all the same. Top, Please God.
Never give us top with
It
fetch
the
lands.
problem with top is like it's such a cool card. I want to constantly be casting and activating it. Please don't play top. Like leave top to cube
I bought a
and
top in
vintage.
I bought a top in Commander one time, and I put it in my deck. And I was what I like to do is I like to playtest Goldfish by myself, right?
Yeah,
Just to see how if nobody else is playing, can I win the game? Is there a way for me to win the game if nobody's playing against me? Because that's a good sign if your deck's gonna do something. So
right.
every game that I drew the top, I wanted the top to be just like a threat or like another card. So I took the top out because in my Goldfish games, I would spend an extra 15 minutes if I drew the fucking top, and I wouldn't be able to get a win. So I feel like it's if it's a time waste in a goldfish game,
Mm,
it's gonna be an even bigger time waste when you're trying to like think through decisions and you have fetch lands and stuff.
right. That makes sense. Simian Spirit Guide? No thanks.
I don't think we can give anybody fast man. I'm sorry.
No. Skull Clamp?
No,
Yeah, I'm okay on Skull Clamp too. Splinter Twin. Unban
I play I
Splinter
play
Twin. You
I play a
cowards.
faster I play a faster Splitter Twin deck. I play a deck that goes off on turn 3.
What
It's
the
insane.
fuck is your excuse, Wizards? What the fuck is the
They're scared
deal?
of 1/4s. They're scared of one
They're
fours, I guess.
scared of getting their lands tapped. Please unban Splinter Twin, dude. It's not gonna homogenize the red blue. Like,
Nothing bad's gonna happen.
I swear to you, if you need to reban it, we can always do that. I
We
think
can reban it.
that is the
Go back.
safest snap like unban of all time. Treasure or
Yeah.
Default's Trickery, no thank you. Summer
Summer Bloom,
Bloom,
no.
no thank you.
No.
Default's
Devil's Trickery,
Trickery,
no.
no thanks. Treasure Cruise, nah.
What
What
is
does
Tree of
Tree of
Tails?
Tails do?
I don't know what that is.
We're gonna
If me
learn
and you both
today.
know what this card is,
Oh, it's Artifact Land.
it's just another artifact land. That makes sense. But we don't know it.
GTA, I'm okay with GTA being banned. I don't
I
think that
think
it's like power level
a
amazing,
billion.
but I mean, a frog wearing a GTA sounds disgusting, and I don't want
That
that
sounds really
happening.
bad. We can't do that.
Yeah, up the beanstalk,
Beanstalk
no.
makes sense.
Uro,
Earl, no. Vault Whispers, all right. Artifact
yeah,
land.
yeah, Uro's probably
Here's the
still
thing,
too good.
actually. I think the artifact lands are actually okay.
Yeah,
Like we can maybe unban them because we have Wrath of the Skies now.
yeah.
And trying to think what other like cards we have that hit all artifacts. Like we have some cards that do just hit all
Well, we
artifacts,
have
and
Meltdown
so
now.
ooh yeah. So I think that like the artifact lands might be able to be unbanned
Agreed.
if we like maybe if as they unban them we ban like some other card out of Affinity. But I think that
Right.
it might be worth looking at. If Boros is too good, they could like bring back some of these other cards that they've banned to try to like soup up other decks to compete.
Yeah, true. So what is that? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's just leave that one off. 10. I don't think we talked about Birthing Pod. Um,
I think Birthing Pod is pretty fucked up. I
I think
think
Birthing
that
Pod is just, it lends itself to terrible gameplay patterns. Like, the thought of a pod deck sounds really cool, and the things that you could potentially do, it sounds very, oh, I can pod into my utility piece, but it's never that. It's always like my two's getting my three, my three's getting my two, my two's getting my three, my three's getting my four's getting the three, and then you're dead. And it's like, that wasn't fun. Oh, that's what happens every time. Yay. So I'm okay with that.
that's
Just
your whole
saying. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I used to play Vivian combo and it was very much so, oh shit, I forget how to win. It like can I win in any way besides this manner, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So that's what
Okay,
like
so
that's good.
that's a
Like
good
almost 10
list.
cards of cards that could be potentially unbanned. So I would
Did we go
implore
all the way
Wizards
down?
to.
Oh no, we did,
We
right?
did, yeah.
Violent Outburst
Violent
is yeah, we did that
outbursts, and then Yorion, yeah. So
for
yeah,
sure.
I think this is a good place to stop. Thanks for
I like that.
j- joining us on this completely random, uh, you know, rant of random topics. But this has been fun. Any closing thoughts about the recent times in Magic?
You know what? It's Thanksgiving, so I just want to say thank you guys for being a part of the Magic community. You know, this is the gathering, and so it's only possible because of each and every one of you. Together, we hold together the fabric of the game with our collective interest. And so I just want to say, all you guys watching, you know, if you guys didn't have anybody to celebrate Thanksgiving with, Cole, if you didn't get to hang out with any family, you know, happy Thanksgiving. I send you guys good vibes and uh, thank you for being my family, you know?
Hell yeah. Yes, it is Thanksgiving, and it is good to be thankful for some things, and I sure am thankful for the Magic community. Um, it's got some lumps, but I do feel like it is a good community of plenty of smart and intelligent people, and oh man, have we become a lot better than we used than we're making progress. And
True.
that's all you can think. That's all you can really
And
hope
shout
for.
out to Wizards. Shout out
Yeah,
to Wizards. Thank you, Wizards, for making the game that we love. As
true.
much as we like to rail on you, as much as we like to tell you what to do, thank you for never giving up and, you know, continuing on to create the stuff that we love because that's why we're here, you know. We love this game. Collectively, we get to be nerdy together, and that's
Mm,
the best part of it.
true. Absolutely. All right. Well, this has been The Gathering, a Magic podcast. I have been Cole, aka Diabolical, aka Deck, and I have been joined by
Goblin Ringleader, Jack, the wait, the Hatter Jack on Arena. That's what the name is. Not that it matters.
not that it matters. If you want to send me a direct challenge, that's awesome. Go for it.
I would
Uh,
love to play sometime.
hell yeah. All right. Until next time, you guys have a great day. Catch you later. Peace.
Peace.